Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodger Podcast. We got ourselves a pregame. We got ourselves a pre-series. We got ourselves an NLCS preview show right here, right now. Guys watching, people watching, do let me know if the stream looks a little wonky. I'm getting some notices that says it might be wonky. But on today's show, we got some roster updates. Tough decisions were made with Miguel Rojas and Alex Vesia. We'll also be talking about why Brent Honeywell was the right choice on this roster. We got keys to the series with the Mets. A whole bunch of stuff. Our final thoughts heading into the NLCS on another edition of All Dodgers Live. My name is Clint Macias. Find me as Real FRG on the Twitter, on the Instagram. I'm a longtime baseball talking dude here on the internet. That's my guy down there at the kids table. That's Kevin Skinner. Find him at Skinner7 Kevin on the Twitter. Give him a follow if you would not mind. He's also covered baseball for money in the past. But Kev, man, how we feeling heading into game one, Flaherty versus Senga?
This is one of the more fun playoff series that I can remember in past years, because obviously you never want to lose to a divisional opponent. So the last 3 years in the DS, don't love like the Giant series, the Padres, Diamondback. We went the gamut outside of the Rockies because they're an absolute travesty of an organization. But that DS series, the DS series is like redundant. The DS always felt like there's so much pressure, and now we can have a little bit of fun because this is like, even in the CS, it's not the Braves, it's the Mets. It's a different team. Like, you know, it's somebody that we've seen but not seen a lot. Don't have a ton of history with. You know, nobody talked to me about 2015, but
they are.
It's somebody that it's going to be fun. Like, we can enjoy like high level quality baseball, in my opinion, or at least I'm going to do that, because that's just something that's new at this point.
Yeah, I like having the positive, feeling of finally getting past those, at least the first round. Not necessarily the Padres, just getting past the first round. That's a big part of it right there. We should pause for just a second to make sure. Again, I'm seeing there might be a whole bunch of stream issues. If not, you guys keep me posted. It looks like the internet might have just bounced back right now. So, guys, please do sound off in the comments. If things look wonky, we could try to fire it off and restart. But let's get into the chat a little bit. My guy Roach is there. Richie Flores is on his way to the game, rocking his Teoscar Hernandez jersey. Denny Cortez just chimed in. What's up, Clint Nation? And producer Kevin, how you doing? We're
Roach. With the timeliest comment, 1 p.m. game time tomorrow sucks. It does. I cannot believe they're letting tomorrow's game start at 1 p.m.
Listen, man, Yankees.
I get it.
Yankees.
The Yankees. I get it, but also, what a criminal time to start a prime time championship bout. Oh yeah, like 90% of people who are gonna watch this are at work, because even when it's 1 p.m. start, it's 4 p.m. on the East Coast on a Monday. It's criminal.
Worth noting, if we get to a game five on Friday, 2 p.m. start. So not the best setup for the series here for the boys. But, hey, listen, we're here, and we're going to have a good time rocking with you all postseason long, guys. But first, I got to tell you, Bet Online, it's the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup breakdown, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. All that's there. Bet Online with the largest catalog of odds and everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA. You got political props in there. All that's going on. The game's over. Head on over to their online casino. Get in on a game of blackjack. There's a game of poker there. Unwind with over 150 slot games available right there at your fingertips. Head to the website today. Get in on the action. Bet Online. The game starts here, and the show starts now, guys. Let's get into the roster news. There is a different looking roster for this NLCS. Not necessarily surprising considering what we saw in Game 5. Alex Vesia off the roster. Miguel Rojas, maybe the bigger surprise, off the roster. But it's the right call. It's the right call to have Rojas off there, because if you lose him in this series and he needs to be pulled off the roster, then he can't be added to a potential World Series roster. But yeah, what do you like about it first? Kevin Kiermaier on, Brent Honeywell also on the roster.
I actually like both. I think both were very savvy moves. The one thing I love about the Rojas move is Kike is a big time player. He shows like big time players show up in big time games, and that is what Kike Hernandez does. As soon as he entered the game in what was it, game 4, it was clear and obvious he needed to be on this roster every single day. And if the easiest way was to kick Rojas off the roster because he's hurt, it's not because he hadn't been producing, it's just because he's hurt. Totally understand, get it, because an 80% Miguel Rojas does not equate to a 100% Kike Hernandez. It just doesn't at this point. Kike has that knack for the big time spotlight. And then on the pitching side, and we'll get into it later, that one hurts. Losing an Alex Vesia, a high leverage lefty. Yeah, that one hurts. They bring on Brent Honeywell, which if you haven't looked recently, the dude is actually better against because of his screwball pitching. He's better against left-handers than he is against right-handers. So
he got the
maybe
reverse
there's
splits.
he's got he's got splits, and the splits are he's better against left-handed pitching or left-handed batting. So it's a savvy move. Whether or not they trust him or Anthony Banda in that high leverage role against, a Jeff McNeil, who the Mets brought back up. He's activated off the IL. Whether or not they trust one or the other remains to be seen. But it is a very it's still savvy because while he throws with his right hand, he's still better against left-handed pitching. Roach just mentioned the lineup just dropped. I'll take a quick look at that while Clint gives his thoughts.
Let me go ahead and talk Vesia and Honeywell here. So, yeah, the Mets have some lefty batters that can cause some damage for sure. You got to watch out for Jesse Winker, who's had himself a nice postseason. Brandon Nimmo always does something. It feels like he always does something when playing the Dodgers. And like Kevin mentioned, you get Jeff McNeil back. I wondered at one point aloud if they would consider going the Justin Wrobleski route. I'm kind of happy they didn't. I like Brent Honeywell, and I'll say this part about Brent Honeywell because there was that point in time in August-ish. He did get DFA'd, and we were kind of worried like he would be one of those guys on the outside looking in. Maybe that final roster spot that they eventually needed. It came down to that. He did lose his job, was DFA'd. Credit to Honeywell sticking with the ball club. He could have gone to free agency, but he said no. I know at some point these boys are going to need me again. Goes to pitch at AAA for a little bit, and now coming back and playing what is now the most important series of the year. So big stuff there. They do have some lefties, but Honeywell, if you're hoping he's not the first option coming out of the bullpen. Losing Vesia. Don't get me wrong. It's a massive blow to not have Alex Vesia. He's been arguably the best, not even arguably, he has been the best reliever for the Dodgers all season long. The consistency is there. The numbers back it up. And it sucks to lose him here, but the hope is he can be back. He will be back for the World Series. But, hey, you got a task at hand. You got to win 4 games in 7 opportunities, and that's what they got in front of them. Upwards. Go ahead.
And I very much echo that sentiment. The one thing that I also like about the Honeywell addition is in a 7-game series, the Dodgers can't really employ the same strategy they did with the Padres in a 5-game series. You can't do 19 innings in 2 days with your bullpen because that might win you a game or two, but that doesn't win you a series like it does in a 5-game set. So a Honeywell can very much eat some innings if it's a blowout either way, or if it's 3 runs one way or the other, and just give the bullpen kind of a long rest. And that's what I really like about Honeywell as well. It would be the same with like a Kasparius or whomever. So I like that because in that game, it was 10-2 or whatever. Yeah. That weird game 2 where the Padres just crushed the Dodgers.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that game.
No, we don't want to talk about it. But if you throw Honeywell out there for inning 7, 8, 9, Man, that does a lot for a bullpen who
Yeah.
then basically gets 2 days off.
I mean, to be
So,
fair, Kasparius could have been that guy as well. They didn't have him in game 2, but it was a must-win series for Dave Roberts. I think we all know that for the organization. We all saw that after the fact. They admitted, all of the things that were kind of going on internally, not necessarily behind the scenes, but internally with that ball club. And they played to win, and they pulled the right levers. We got a lot of Dave glazing in our last our post game show that dropped out after Friday night. So check that out if you did not. Hey guys, the real Yuki Matsui is in the chat, by the way. Padres reliever is now a Dodgers fan. We appreciate you having you in here, Matsui-san. We appreciate you. Very good first year in Padre diarrhea, Brown. Javi asking, what time do the gates open today? I think they do 3 hours before first pitch now.
Wow, yeah,
during the
that's so
postseason.
early.
Hey,
Wow.
man, you got to beat that traffic. You got to beat the traffic. But guys,
you guys show up, show out, be loud.
That's an
we
important
need
thing.
Need to be loud in game 1, just like everyone was in game 5. It's equally as important now, if not more so, than it was 2 days ago. So
yeah, we were talking about that, heading into the series, the importance of the decibels there at Dodger Stadium. You got to get the fans going early, and I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit in this episode before we do get out of here. But the importance of not having a let up. The emotional letdown that can happen after a series like we just saw, where you had to throw everything at the wall. But again, we'll dive into that a little bit more. One last thought on the roster. Let me go back to the screen real quick. Again, you see Kevin Kiermaier on this roster in place of Miguel Rojas. I didn't really talk about that. Miggy Rowe has been nails against lefty pitching this year, so it is a tough blow. Even if he wasn't starting in the series, I thought maybe they can keep him on and have him, on the bench as a bat. Andrew Friedman spoke just a couple minutes ago, saying that the injury has reached a point where he could further injure himself. It could be exacerbated to the point where, he's out. And either way, he's having off-season surgery, but their hope is that with this 7 games, and we're very much crossing our fingers and looking ahead, but with these 7 games, that extra rest, and then getting into a World Series, maybe Miggy Rowe can be back to face the Yankees or the Guardians, whoever wins that one. But he's been great. Kiermaier there, he's been partying, and now he's asked to work. We saw him partying after that NLCS, but he's there for the wheels. He's there for the glove, and hopefully maybe dropping some big bunts down. I love big bunt stuff, and I cannot lie. Maybe that happens later on in this series, but you also hope that the 1 through 9 you have out there every day is just going to be taking care of the job. Alex Renneria likes Kiermaier over CT3 defensively, wants to see get those late game defensive substitutions. Absolutely. I mean, Kiermaier, he has the hardware to back it up too. We're talking about an elite defender in center field, arguably the best defender still in baseball, even at his age. A lot better than a Pages, although I've said I like Pages when he's engaged. But he will be there, and I'm hoping, I'm expecting Andy Pages to factor prominently in this series. But any final thoughts before we look ahead at those New York Mets?
More than just, obviously, when it was the top of the 9th, a 2-run lead, the last person we wanted to see in center field was Andy Pages. No offense to him, but also kind of all of the offense to him. He hasn't shown to be like a quality center fielder. And I think he would be the first person to let you know that. So Kevin Kiermaier provides that stability in those high leverage situations. More than that, though, he's probably at this point the best pinch runner on the team. That's CT3 aside, I know, but Kiermaier is faster than CT3. So I love him for that role as well. And I think he can provide a lot for just if you need somebody on base to get into scoring position, maybe score from second on a single. I would probably trust Kiermaier more than anyone else on this roster. So I'm excited to see that come into play. I hate that it's at the cost of a Miguel Rojas because he has done so much for this club. And, even if everybody wants to bash him for the mistake in game 3, that's a one-off. He's been amazing otherwise. So it's unfortunate that it came at his expense, but I am excited to see what a Kiermaier can bring, because also on a very, 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 very last note, he's pretty much the only left-handed bat off the bench. So if they bring in a right-handed reliever, he's probably the first guy that Dave's going to call upon to try and get a knock. There's no more Jason Hayward. There's not a David Peralta. There's nobody like that. It's just pretty much Kiermaier. So I'm excited to see what he can do and see how he can put his stamp and mark on this NLCS.
Yeah, looking forward to game one coming up just a few hours. Shout out to the people just joining us. I think my boy D-Mac just wrapped up his show. So guys, come in, share your thoughts here. We're going to be here. You're here for the best stuff right now. If I'm, tooting my own horn a little bit, we're talking Mets and we're talking X factors to this series and all of that coming up. I should plug the channel, of course, as well. Haven't done that enough yet. Hey, guys, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell if you have not. Give the video a thumbs up if you want your Dodgers to win this in 4, if you want them to win it in 5, if you want them to win it in 6, if you want this to go all the way and your Dodgers are still going to be winning this series again, give the video a thumbs up. That's how they know. That's how the Dodgers know you want them to win. And subscribe. We're trying to get to 7,500 subscribers, and we're right there. We're like 5 away, so you guys can be one of those 5, and you can win absolutely nothing. Also, if you're looking for a different way to support the show outside of subscribing, we have Patreon set up. We have YouTube members set up, $5 a month, help support independent baseball coverage. And you also, behind a paywall, you get access to our Discord server where all of us, a bunch of names you see here on YouTube day in, day out on these shows, we're all talking Dodger baseball during the game. It's a lot of fun. Again, patreon.com/realfrg, or click the join button here on YouTube, to join via YouTube members. But yeah, let's get into the Mets thoughts here. So I was talking to a friend yesterday before, he had some worries, as you do as Dodgers fans. We go to the worst version of things that can happen. The Mets playing very good right now. They're playing very good baseball, got through a wild card series, got through an NLDS, playing well. Very good ball club. But when you're looking at the starting pitching, you're looking at some of the guys on the roster. Listen, I don't want to put down the Mets because you set yourself up for failure. You set yourself up for hubris. But they're kind of running on some smoke and mirrors here. And rotation in particular, it's the type of rotation that this Dodgers team, 2024 Dodgers, they can beat this type of rotation. You go back a couple of years ago where they couldn't get to somebody like Eric Lauer or whatever for the life of them. This is a bunch of lefty pitchers. You got one righty in there, but it's also a bunch of Jags. You got just the guys out there, journeyman pitchers, guys that, Sean Manaea, who's been terrible against the Dodgers in his career. He's also somebody who lost his job very recently when he was a Padre, lost his job very recently when he was a Giant. Kodai Senga, who is making his 3rd appearance of the season in his game 1 start. Lasted just 2 innings in the NLDS. Again, second appearance in that NLDS of the entire year, battling injuries. There's a lot of things when you look on paper. There's a lot of things that bode well for your Los Angeles Dodgers. What do you think about Senga, Manaea, Quintana in there, and Luis Severino, rounding things out in the rotation?
To go backwards a little bit, Sevy's got nasty stuff when he's healthy, so I do worry about him. With Manaea, he dropped his arm slot down to be a more Chris Sale type of delivery. Now, the Dodgers have hit left-handed pitching really well this year. They have. You add Teoscar Hernandez, who's already just been as clutch can be. And so you like Teoscar in that matchup. And then you have Kodai Senga, who, like you said, has been making his 3rd start. And the one thing that really worries me about a Kodai Senga is the Dodgers have not seen him. There is no tape on what Senga can do this year. So that kind of concerns me. That being said, yeah, if you're looking at names or if you're looking at historical or production in the past, this is a pitching staff that I think the Dodgers can get to, but I'm worried that the adjustments that these guys I don't like what the adjustments this pitching staff has made is for real. There's a reason why this Mets team has been one of the best since June.
Yes.
And it's because in large part to their pitching staff. And if other teams could figure them out, if Sean Manaea has somehow become revolutionary in his delivery, and then you add Kodai Senga with a nasty ghost fork ball and his fastball on top of that, there's something to be worried about with that. But I think as a total package, when you're looking at bullpen, starting rotation, offense, they worry me a little less, not a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw any shade at the Mets.
It's a shade-free zone.
They worry me a little less than like the Padres, because I think the Padres, their top-end guys were a lot better. I thought their back-end guys were a lot better because Edwin Diaz, we've seen, has struggled down the stretch in the postseason at spots. And, I mean, he's kind of found it again. But, again, that's a shaky spot to, like, have – that'd be like Michael Kopech having blown 3 saves, in the last 3 weeks. It's similar to that, and we don't know how much confidence we'd have in a Michael Kopech if he had done that. So my point being – I think the top end stuff from the Padres was a lot better. I think the Padres were a deeper team offensively, but the Mets do pose a real threat because they are hot. They do have, guys that can just catch fire. I mean, Francisco Lindor is no joke, people.
No.
Pete Alonso can absolutely run into one.
On fire.
Mike Vientos is an absolute force. He's just somebody that I think gets underlooked a lot. They brought back Jeff McNeil, who was the batting champ back in 2022. Like, they've got dudes that this club is, the Dodgers, that is, are going to have to pitch around. They're going to have to figure out. So they're not going to roll over and die.
Absolutely not.
But I don't think this series goes 7 one way or the other.
All right, we'll get it, guys. We want you to get in your predictions as well. We're going to do that a little bit later in the show. My thoughts on this echo a lot of your thoughts. When you're looking at the Padres built a roster to, yes, one, beat the Dodgers, of course, but they built a roster to go beyond the Dodgers for sure. The Mets found a way to put together a roster to sneak into the playoffs. That was their goal in the second half, and they did a phenomenal job at finding some pieces. You're talking about Manaea kind of reinventing himself. He's not, Sean Manaea of years past. They have some very, very good pieces, some pieces that can cause fits for these Dodgers for sure. And they're also the same way the Dodgers are. Dodgers are running on aura, and as Kike said, they don't give a fuck. The Mets are running on good vibes and some very, very key clutch hits and all that stuff. So like you said, do not sleep on these Mets even slightly. Francisco Lindor, an MVP candidate, second, he's going to finish second behind Ohtani most likely. He's got some big hits in this postseason. We're already seeing it, and he's cold, man. He is cold. He's cold.
And he might finish second in MVP, which is a regular season award, but he has outproduced Ohtani in this postseason so far. If you ask, I don't think it's even close. He's been amazing for this Mets team in the postseason. So, this Dodgers team is going to have to find a way to get him out. And it is unfortunate that, game 3 is going to have to be a bullpen game or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
however it works. We're going to talk about that. I have an idea about that game 3 and game 2. We'll talk about that in a second. I do want to get into some of the comments here. I see Syndrome in the chat helping out. Says people like and subscribe so Clint can take some shots. Yes. So usually we reserve shots for super chats, but Matt Leiter says he just subscribed. Dodgers fans stuck in Boston. Does Clint do a shot now? You know what? For you, I'm going to hit that gong. And for you, Matt, and for everybody in the chat, I'm going to hit a shot. Little pre-game, pre-series shot. Double boys here. Let's go. Straight from the bottle, just like God intended. It's Sunday fun day. I think my Eagles were still winning. I don't know, but
they were. Yes.
Hell yeah.
I checked. I got you. I know.
Appreciate you, my guy. Let's see. Paul C says, I hope we see their whole bullpen tonight. Yeah, I mean, you need to have something special out of Jack Flaherty tonight because, like Dave Roberts said, and even like Kevin just said a little bit ago, you're not in a position that you were in that shorter 5-game series. If you overexpose the bullpen early, you're going to need to see them. You're going to need to use them a whole lot. So all of a sudden, Kasparius is going to be important in this series. Honeywell is going to be important in this series.
That's why I was highlighting Brent Honeywell. Absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very, very important dudes in this matchup. And it's not necessarily, just talking about, hey, another name we didn't mention, JD Martinez. He's going to look to kind of get some blood against his former team. They did let him go. He signed in LA last year for less money. And then they're like, all right, thanks, bye. We're bringing, Ohtani, which is the right call. Pete Alonso playing for his next big-time contract because he is a free agent. He's got a OPS at almost 13. And you mentioned Vientos, OPS almost 1,700. It's
crazy.
He's insane, dude.
Insane.
Yeah.
He was a replacement for Brett Beatty. Like, he was just a dude, and he shows up, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm never leaving." Sorry.
Sometimes that happens, man, and those are the best kind of people. In a what am I looking for? When you're trying to come out of nowhere to make a postseason run, those teams have those guys. Eddie Rosario for the 21 Braves, he was kind of those guys. We don't bring it. Okay, I'm not going to bring him up. Rude Street talking to Kenny Chung, saying Dodgers batters just need to be smart and show some patience against Senga, make him work, get him out by the third. Yeah, I don't think Senga's going to be in this game for very long either way. I believe I saw Kenny Chung, maybe with somebody else, but already mentioned the pitch count for Senga. He's going to be at like 50, 55 max. Again, this is his third appearance of
less than that
the entire year. So he's not going to be around for very long, which it immediately does start exposing that that Mets bullpen.
So talking Jack Harris, by Jack Harris, if anybody doesn't know, from the LA Times, does a great job. He's very much worth a follow if you're a Dodgers fan. Said Dave Roberts echoed this tonight regarding Game 2 pitching plan. If the Dodgers get length from Flaherty tonight, they could go the bullpen game tomorrow.
Yep, that's my plan.
But if they have to use a lot of the pen tonight, Buehler is going to be likelier. So, again, this Game 1 is highly important, not just to win, but just to get length, just to set up the rest of the series, which in a 5-game set isn't as important, but in a 7-game set is very important. It's really important to get your guys kind of in a rhythm, set up so that, when it comes to Game 5, 6, 7, there's a plan there. You don't have to show up in the morning and be like, okay, yeah, are you feeling okay? If you're feeling okay, yeah, you sure. Can you throw the 7th inning against the heart of the Mets lineup for me?
Yeah, I mean, let's move on. Let's move forward here then. Let's talk our final NLCS thoughts. Let's talk keys to the series. Right off the bat, and I'll say it again in a second too, but right off the bat, and I already said it earlier, the Dodgers need to avoid the emotional letdown that can come after that hard-fought series with the Padres. It's very easy to beat the team you wanted to beat, get out of that round you wanted to get out of, party, and then you're just like, wait, we got to do this again? And then it's a longer series. So that said, this is a very professional team. I believe in this team and its ability to not, compartmentalize that NLDS and just keep that same mentality. It was an emotional roller coaster. They exercised a lot of demons, but there's no let up. There's no let down. The Mets are a good team, but they're beatable, and they not like us. They not like us.
They not like us. This is a heavyweight bout. Even if the Mets were 6th seed or are the sixth seed, it is 100% a team of MVP caliber talents, role players that you don't expect to make an impact, yet they have. There's everything about this that makes it a true NLCS matchup. And what's important for the Dodgers, in my opinion, the X factor or whatever, it comes down to Shohei Ohtani. And I'm not saying that because he's the dude
pretty big,
or whatever.
Pretty important dude.
But the Dodgers won the NLDS in large part despite Shohei. Like, Shohei had the 3-run homer. He had the go-ahead single in Game 3. Or no, like later in the game, in Game 1. But outside of that Game 1, he didn't do a whole lot. For what the pitching staff is, for what it looks like, whether it be bullpen or otherwise, in the starters, they need starters, or they need superstars like Mookie and Shohei to show up to take some pressure off them, because the easiest way for the Dodgers to get length out of their starter is if they put a crooked number up early. And then all of a sudden Jack Flaherty can go 6 deep and give up 4 runs, and who cares? You know what I mean? Like, that's the
Which is what we
easiest way
wanted out of him heading into the DS. Just keep the team in the game. You can get back into that mindset.
Yep.
Keep your team, starting pitchers, keep your team in the game. The offense is going to have its opportunities against the Mets. This is not going to be any semblance.
There's no Yu Darvish on the fucking Mets. Thank God.
This is not going to be anything close to a pitcher's duel of a series unless they decide to do something. I just do not see it being much of a pitcher's duel. But one of the things I was going to say is if you're looking at the series, you're looking at the way it's lined up, it's 2-3-2, flying across the country. I think either way, even if Flaherty has a bit of a stinker, which I don't think he will, but I think you got to go bullpen game in game 2. I think you need to go bullpen game in game 2 on Monday, tomorrow, which is Monday. And Walker Buehler, you push him back those 2 more days because a couple of things. Buehler has been very good in New York against the Mets. He's in 2 starts at Citi Field.
He loves the road.
And he loves that. Oh God, does he love that? And we saw that at Petco too. I mean, if he had a little bit of defensive help, that's a gem. It was a gem either way, even if the numbers don't show it. But Buehler, 2.25 ERA and 2 starts at Citi Field. I think that's more important to blow your bullpen in game 2. You have the day off. You fly to New York, and then Buehler's going to go. And I got faith in Buehler. And then that series, that stretch of 3 games in New York is Buehler, Yamamoto, and then Flaherty again on Friday in a game 5 at 2 p.m., which, again, stupid fucking series starts. But
I can't believe they did that.
That's a whole other thing.
And then for what it's worth,
go ahead.
It's a long break. So, right, we get the afternoon game tomorrow. Yeah. You get it off. You fly to
plenty of recharge.
You have roughly 36 hours ish to kind of rest your arm. You're not stuck on a plane for that long. You don't have to get off the plane and then start a game the next day. And like you said, I love the idea of give me Buehler, very much like how we talked about how Fernando Tatis, Profar, Machado feed off the negative energy from Dodgers fans. Buehler feeds off the negative energy from other fans.
Damn straight.
Like I said, there are 2 types of players. One loves to hype up a crowd and one loves to silence them. And Walker Buehler loves to silence a crowd. He wants to get there, shove strike 3 down your throat, and just hear the crowd deaf it. He just wants to hear quiet.
Problem for Walker, he doesn't really have strike 3 in the tank right now.
But I believe in him. I'm ready to be hurt again. I saw enough from him in game 2. I'm ready to be hurt.
So look, get your key to the series, your X factor essentially to the series. For me, I need to see something special out of Walker Anthony Buehler in this series. That's right. I went real middle name, not effing. He is, to me, arguably the most important piece of the puzzle because you have, ostensibly you have 3 starters. You really only have 3 starters because they're not viewing Knack as the 4th starter. It's a 7-game series. Yamamoto is only going to be able to pitch once in the series, and the bullpen is going to be, on call potentially for 2 starts because they would start a game 6 back here in LA next Sunday. If we get that far, and that would also line Buehler up for a game 7 if you get that far as well. So Buehler could start 2 games in this series, and that's my guy. That's the X factor to this series, this season. For me, it's Walker effing Buehler. Walker Anthony Buehler. Step up, shove him that, right down their throat. I believe in my boy. I believe in butane. And everybody else should. I mean, obviously, Jack Flaherty, you're right as well in saying the offense. Shohei Ohtani, who has struggled his life against Senga.
It's specifically Shohei. I love what Kike did. I love what Teoscar did. And they've shown to show up in the big spots. It's up to Shohei, though, to really set the tone. Just let everybody know, hey, man, I'm here. I'm the big bad. Like, this team goes as I go because this team is gone as Mookie is gone. And I expect a big series out of him because I think that weight got lifted off him. But it's time for Shohei to he showed it in a quick burst. I needed to see it from a full series. I really do, because in a 7-game series, you need pitching to go a long time. And the easiest way to do that is if the offense can continuously put up crooked numbers.
Yep. I mean, it's that simple, guys. It's so simple, Like, well, how come everybody doesn't just
I know, why
think
can't we
about
do
it
it?
this way? But
Why can't
you
we do
got to
it?
feel good. Hey, I mean, I already know what yours is because we talked before. Apparently, I'm stealing yours, but series prediction. I want yours. And guys, I think some folks were dropping their series predictions in the chat. Drop them again. I want to know how many games is this series going. But I'll let you do it so that way you can steal the thunder from me first.
I got Dodgers in 6.
Let's
I
go.
think they win it back home. I think they celebrate in front of the fans. I think it's going to be a roller coaster. I think the Mets are going to surprise some people with how deep their lineup can be and how good their starting pitching can be. And I expect the Dodgers to make some adjustments down the road. They're going to have to win a couple tough games in New York. That's going to have to happen. But I think they end up winning it in front of the home crowd. Get celebrated together, celebrated with the city of Los Angeles. So that's my prediction. Dodgers in 6.
I got Dodgers in 6 as well for a number of reasons. One being Game 6 Sunday, we're having a mini all Dodgers meetup at Richie's house in Devore. Some folks that have been around Discord, the earliest people, we had our Dodger meetup at Dodger Stadium. What is it, in August? And, it's been a good bond there between these fine people. And Richie could only hold so many people at his house. So if we get to a World Series, we'll do something bigger. We'll do something better and invite everybody. But we can only house so many people at Richie's. So we got to get to a Game 6 so we could all party and do a post-game from the man cave there. But also, I just feel good. I said it. I'll say it again in a different way. Don't sleep on the Mets. Very good team, but go ahead.
One quick thing. Apparently, according to reports by Blake Williams from DB, just so nobody gets lost at this, he's saying Andy Pages will likely get the start, and Gavin Lux will get the day off if the Mets start a lefty tomorrow.
Okay.
So Andy Pages will start in center. Gavin Lux will get the day off. Tommy Edman will be at short. He says he's going to get all the time at short, and so that will put Kike at second, just so we're all, all on the same page. I still think that's a good. That's a
good.
Great
I mean, we're
solution.
looking ahead right there for sure. But I mean, another thing that's important to bring up in this series is the importance of Andy Pages, where we're saying they're facing all these left-handed pitchers in Minaya, in Jose Quintana. Pages has absolutely obliterated left-handed pitching. So as important as Shohei is, important as Mookie is in those games, Pages, batting down 7-8 in the lineup. That's going to be a very, very important piece for this ball club. And then, Kike at second base. You're never going wrong with Enrique Hernandez. Postseason playoff Kike. I don't give a fuck Kike batting anywhere in the lineup, but being in the lineup in a postseason series. I believe in that dude all the way. Kenny Chung, love it. Teoscar's going to remain an X factor. Him
absolutely
against lefty
with
pitching.
With lefty starters. Oh, yeah.
Just need some ducks on the pond first.
Yeah, not even sneaky. If the Dodgers make it out of this round, Teoscar is probably going to end up winning NLCS MVP because of the amount of lefties that are in the lineup and how he tees off on lefties. So I would be shocked if we make it out of the round and Teoscar doesn't win.
Let's hit some of these predictions in here. Mike Lerma agrees with you, says Dodgers in 6. Teoscar, NLCS MVP. Dytran says Hernandez needs to show up, or says Walker Hernandez. I don't know if it's both, Walker and Hernandez.
I think it's both.
But I'm going to go with both either way. Paul C., Dodgers in 6. Show Goat MVP. Can't really go wrong. My guy Phil, great artist here on the internet. Phil says Dodgers in 5. And I'm assuming that means Blue the Dodger Dog also says Dodgers in 5. Dry Protoss has also been going off in the chat. Appreciate Dry Protoss. Says Dodgers in at most 6. Allison Pearl Jam says 2018 Muncie needs to show up. Yeah, listen, hey, Muncie.
Be nice.
Muncie called some folks like us, not necessarily like us, but like maybe me. Listen, I mean, you did. You had the fear.
I said Padres in 4.
You had the
I
fear.
said Padres in 4 or Dodgers in 5. That was my prediction. I thought if it got to a Game 5, they'd win it, but I didn't think it'd get to a Game 5.
But Max, doing that, he put a big target on his back.
Yep.
He said 80% of you fuckers didn't believe in us. Like, we have the receipts of why we shouldn't have, or why we should have some trepidation and go whole hog in believing in the Dodgers. people watching me this whole offseason, particularly leading into it, Gritty Scotty G and I did the final grade show and postseason preview and all that. We were both talking about the vibes, the aura. There was something special about this team. I believed it. I lost some faith in games 2 and 3. But I'm all the way back. This team has something special. They have the vibes. They have the aura. They have what it takes to beat the Mets and beat anybody else in their way. It was about getting through that series and getting through the Padres. And
meet the Mets and beat the Mets.
Can meet the Mets, can beat the Mets, and you gotta have Max. You gotta do something now. You gotta do something now. Yep. Mike Lerma also says an X factor is Will Smith. Go ahead.
X factor. Yeah, that's the same thing. Is Max is gonna get he's going to get choice opportunities against right-handed pitching on which to tee off. Now, a good Max Muncy, the normal Max Muncy, can do it both sides, phrasing, but he's going to get fewer opportunities against the Mets. So for a guy like Max, when he does get the one at bat, maybe 2 at bats a game against the right-hand pitching, need him to make those count. And I believe in him too, because he's Max freaking Muncy, and he's one of the greatest, one of the best Dodgers of all time. I don't care what anybody says. Him and JT are up top on my pantheon of Dodgers.
Numbers back it up too. My guy Matt Goat Yachty says, Clint, you didn't really lose faith after Game 3. You said, "Fuck it, Dodgers in 5." I was the first one. I mean, you gotta keep the faith. I saw somebody, just an option says it's a good thing you guys do a Dodgers podcast and are not believing in your own team. We're not here to be sunshine pumpers. We're not here just to say, "Oh, the Dodgers."
I'm not here to be a front runner.
Yeah, the Dodgers aren't going to win because we want them to win and we cover them. No, there's a reality where they don't win or another team is better on paper. Entering that NLDS. I mean, a lot of the country took the Padres in that series. I felt something good about the Dodgers, but yeah, they were not wrong to go that route to look at the Padres, but I love the competition. Keep it coming. I hope the Mets are good. Make the Dodgers better as we advance to the World Series. That's what we're going for. Dodgers in 6. I said Yuki is saying Mets in 7 games. Yuki Matsui, come on. You said you were a Dodger fan.
You see, I know. What the? Why you switched already?
It's all good. It's all good. It'd be like Yuki that
Matsui,
sometimes.
a Lindor fan. I get it. I understand. What's to not like about Mr. Smiles? What's not to like?
Gotta love them. Listen again. This is gonna be a fun series. You got a lot of very, very good baseball players in this series. Enjoy it. Try to enjoy it objectively as a baseball fan. I know we can't do that. We want our boys to win. We want to crush them, and I feel pretty good about the series, guys. But that's about it. Post-game show will be on Dodgers territory tonight. One way or another, we might have a post-game show here. If it's a blowout win or a painful loss, we might fire another one up. But your boy's tired. We got a bunch of content dropping tomorrow as well around the game, 1 p.m. game. So just stay tuned. Best way to follow up and see what's going on. Check out the social medias. I'll be posting about it. I'm Real FRG on the Twitter, on the Instagram. That guy is at Skinner7. Kevin on the Twitter. We'll post about it there. We'll post about it on the All Dodgers LA Twitter as well. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the great questions and comments. Hanging out with here on this not well promoted game or NLCS preview show, whatever they want to call it. I want to thank our channel members, our Patreon supporters here. You guys are freaking awesome. They help support the channel so we can keep doing this show. Again, $5 a month if you want to join us in conversation. During this postseason, now's as great a time as any to sign up. $5 a month and join us on Discord where we're talking Dodger baseball all day long, all game long. Sign up, patreon.com/realfrg. And what was the other one? Join YouTube members. All that stuff. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. Find us on Believe Network as well. I should probably mention them more again. Follow Kevin. Do all that kind of stuff. That's about it. Okay, we'll see you guys later. Bye.